Of all the places that Cam Skattebo could have ended up in the pros, the New York Giants feels like a great spot, and he might be the future of that franchise.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw. I will be your expert for all things Sun Devils, from the gridiron to the hardwood and everything in between. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Cam Skattebo, he looks like a giant, he acts like a giant, and if it looks like a duck and sounds like a duck, it must be a duck. But the offense this year could and should be centered around Cam Skattebo, and he might be the guy to build the entire team around moving forward. All of that is coming up on today's show. If it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, if it swims like a duck, whatever, probably a duck. Cam Skattebo has moxie. He seems very brash, depending on if you know him or not. He seems arrogant to some. He is not everyone's cup of tea. He also, hard-nosed guy. He just likes to get his work done. He is someone that is more focused on the task in front of him than he is anything else. When it comes to Cam Skattebo, one thing is on his mind: doing his job and doing it well. And if you get in his way, you better move. You better figure it out. I think I just described the perfect New Yorker. I don't know. I'm not from New York, and I don't know a lot of New Yorkers. But I know, based off the stereotypes, we love all the New York sports, we love our country, and we love working hard. Funny enough, Cam Skattebo loves working hard. He's also brash like a New Yorker. New Yorkers get a bad rep. Everyone's like, I don't want to talk to them. They're rude. They're this, that, and the other. That's a lot of people talking about Cam Skattebo. Do you realize, if you're not a Sun Devils fan, how many people do not like Cam Skattebo? I can't remember, or I can't wrap my head around. At the Peach Bowl, I'm there in the crowd. I'm not watching it at home. I'm not in the stand, or not in the stand. I'm not in the press box or anything. I'm on the field. He's getting plenty of boos. He's getting plenty of chirping and all that good stuff. That's normal. I wouldn't expect it any other way. I would expect that from U of A. I would expect that from Iowa State. I would expect that from Colorado, NAU, East Carolina, North Texas, everyone. What I didn't expect was the backlash he would receive from being a passionate football player on the field. Skattebo, sometime in the first quarter, first half at least, is seen on the sidelines, and he's pissed. He's throwing stuff. He's like, I can't freaking do this anymore. I can't freaking blah, 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 blah. And, like, people were losing their minds about it. They're like, what a punk. Look at him. Like, he's not team first. He doesn't want to play, blah, blah, blah. He's quitting. No, this guys aren't allowed to get upset, apparently, because he's just a passionate guy. If you know anything about Cam Skattebo, you know that he's passionate. Just like a New Yorker. Very passionate about what they do, about their sports teams, all that stuff. And they're unapologetic about it. Guess what? Cam Skattebo is never going to apologize for feeling the way he feels. If you don't remember this, going into the game, he said, and I quote, paraphrasing, "I'm the best running back in the nation." That received a lot of backlash, a lot of criticism, a lot of eyebrow raises, and a lot of eyes being rolled. Because Ashton Jeanty, who played at Boise State, was just the 6th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Outran Skattebo by a lot, probably close to 1,000 yards. And he finished second place in Heisman Trophy voting behind Travis Hunter. And he had one of the greatest single seasons a running back has seen in the last 5 years, last 10 years, since the turn of the century, since forever. He had one of the greatest single seasons a running back has ever had. So who is this guy coming up to a podium for an Arizona State team that nobody has heard of? Arizona State, they've been in the toilet the last few years. No one knows who this team is. They came out of nowhere. They're a Cinderella team. Who is this running back who's sitting in front of me and saying, I'm the best running back in the country? Brother, are you the best running back in your own conference? Are you the best running back that your team has had in the last 5-10 years? These are questions that are being asked. They're sitting there, they're like, Marion Hampton in North Carolina is better than you. Either of the Ohio State kids, Quinshawn Judkins, Travion Henderson, they're better than you. What about the kids down in Texas, who you're going to see very, very soon with Jaden Blue, and Quintravian Wisner? What about Isaiah Johnson in Iowa? What about, we just keep going. We keep going. And people have that question. They're like, why on earth is this kid going to sit here and tell me he's the best running back in the nation when I don't know who he is? Totally valid. You have every right to feel that way. And again, that's a little bit of New York attitude to him. I'm the best at what I do. And it's like, really? Are you? I don't think you are. But hard nose, get the job done. That's what Cam did. Cam goes on to have one of the best college football playoff performances ever. He just so happened to do it in the first year of the 12-team playoff, which put that much bigger a spotlight on it. But go back through the history of the college football playoff, find individual performances that are better than Cam Skattebo's. You're going to find less than 10. I don't even know how many you could find. I mean, off the top of my head, I'd say Ezekiel Elliott against Alabama is probably number one. Ezekiel Elliott through the heart of the South, like, that's tough. But, I mean, other than that, it was so good that Cam Skattebo on the losing team won the Peach Bowl MVP. That's how good he was. Yeah, I'd say he proved it. And by the end of the game, a lot of people around the country were like, okay, maybe he wasn't as crazy. Maybe he wasn't as crazy as we thought when he said, I'm the best running back in the nation. Maybe there was a little bit of substance to what he said. Well, there you go. Lo and behold, he looks and he talks and he plays like a New Yorker. Okay, but how does that relate to the Giants, Richie? Well, funny enough, let's look at some of the most relevant New York Giants over the last 25 to 30 years, right? My lifetime. They have had plenty of successful running backs. Tiki Barber, their all-time leading rusher. Over 10,000 yards, terrific receiver. Brandon Jacobs, one of the biggest running backs to ever play the position, had real estate in the end zone. Ahmad Bradshaw, a couple of 1,000-yard seasons. He was pretty good when he was healthy. Saquon Barkley, the man, the myth, the legend. Should have never left New York, but, I think they're going to have to figure it out, and they're going to be very happy with Cam Skattebo. What do those guys do? Well, most of them are great pass catchers. Most of them find their way into the end zone. Most of them are able to run really hard down the field and just put your chin strap straight into your skull from hitting you so hard. Okay? I see a lot of that in Cam. See a lot of all that in Cam. Cam Skattebo, what do I see here? He is a hard-nosed runner, but he's not a power back. And I think that's a perception that has been placed on Cam Skattebo that just isn't correct. He's not a power back. He's not Brandon Jacobs. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not Marshawn Lynch. But he is someone who's not going to be afraid to put you on your ASS if you get in his way. It's hard-nosed running. It's get out of my way or you're going to be kissing the turf. A lot of that in common with some of those other guys. He's a great pass catcher. He's an elite pass catcher. Over 11 yards per reception in his career. All 4 seasons of college football he played. 2 years at Sacramento State, 2 years at Arizona State. Over 10 yards per reception in each of those seasons. Finds his way into the end zone. My man is just a good pass catcher. He was second on the Sun Devils in receiving yards last year behind Jordan Tyson, who went for over 1,100 yards. That's pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty similar to that too. And he scores touchdowns. Yeah. Tiki Barber scored touchdowns. Saquon Barkley scored touchdowns. Brandon Jacobs owned the end zone as a power rusher. Yeah, he fits the play style that we have seen from these previous Giants running backs. He fits the aesthetic of the previous Giants running backs. He looks like these guys. Some of them are massive. Brandon Jacobs might as well have been like 7'10" and 390 pounds the way that he played on the field. He was 6'5", 250, I want to say. But I mean, besides the fact that he was Goliath, some of the other guys look very similar to him. Like Ahmad Bradshaw, very, very similar. Ahmad, a couple inches taller, 5'11", both about 200-ish pounds, 210 or so. Like they look similar. They have that similar structure to them. They look like it, whether it's a couple of inches of heights difference or a few pounds difference. Skattebo looks the same way that those other running backs do and the way that they played. If he looks like a duck and he talks like a duck and he quacks like a duck, he's a duck. If Cam Skattebo runs like a giant, catches the ball like a giant, scores touchdowns like a giant, and epitomizes what it means to be a New Yorker and a New York Giant, then he's a New York Giant. The fit is terrific on so many different levels. And it's so exciting to think about what he could be for the future of the Giants. And I dare say he's already a fan favorite. I will be getting myself my own number 44 Cam Skattebo jersey very, very soon, because I do think that you can center the offense around him very quickly. In fact, as a rookie out the gate, I think you can do that. That's coming up next. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let me talk to you about our friends over at Monarch Money. If you ever check your bank account and you wonder, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, and so many other things, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending, all in one place. Stop managing your money and start building wealth. You're going to see how much money you're spending on some things. For me, it was the food delivery. And now that I understand how much money I am wasting on food delivery, I can start budgeting a little bit more. And it's because Monarch Money helps me figure that out. I don't need several apps either. I just need the Monarch Money app to check my finances, track my spending. I can even plan long-term goals. And if you're managing money with your partner, it's smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Thanks as always for tuning in to make Locked On Sun Devils your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Look, if you are trying to build an offense as soon as possible, then you want to have someone that you can reliably give the ball to. And I've got great news for you, Giants fans. You can very reliably put the ball in Cam Skattebo's hands and watch him do the work for you. He's a very special player. We already talked about how he catches the football really well, how he runs the football really well, how he finds the end zone really well. There's so many different things that Cam Skattebo does great. If you want to put on his YouTube highlight reel, first of all, you can find a lot of them and have some fun with it. But you're also just going to see what he is. Like, sometimes you look at a highlight reel and it's like, you're seeing the best of their plays, right? You look at Cam Skattebo and it's like, that's what he is. He's not the fastest guy in the room. He's not the strongest guy in the room. He's not the biggest guy in the room. And yet, everyone is still struggling to take him down. That's not a coincidence at all. That's just who he is. So when you're watching these plays and you see him put someone in the dirt and then he's running free, but he gets caught from behind, yeah, that's not an accident. That's just who Cam Skattebo is. When you see Cam Skattebo just running around on the field and you're like, he looks kind of small. Yeah, he is kind of small. He's 5'10" in cleats. Like, what you see is what you get with Cam Skattebo, but it's not a coincidence that what you're seeing is an elite football player. You know what you're getting out the gate. And he was a day 3 selection. And a lot of people, including yours truly, thought that he would end up being a day 2 guy, someone that was taken within those top 50 or so selections. But he ends up being a day 4, a day 3 pick. He was a 4th round pick. Well, I don't think that he's going to have expectations of being a 4th round pick. I think if you were to place expectations on him, and why not? I mean, he's the people's running back. He can run it, he can catch it, he can pass it, he can punt it, and he's your mom's favorite player. Yeah, let's put some expectations on him. Why not? I think he can be the starting running back for the team. I think he can be a really good player for the team. I think he can be the focus of the team. Giants general manager Joe Schoen, I think that's how you say it, was on the Kay Adams Up and Adams show last week. I think Thursday he was on. He said this, and I quote, direct quote from the show. Here we go. He's ahead of a lot of rookies. I would say that typically come in at the position. Hard worker. What you see on film is what he's been throughout the week in terms of displaying the toughness and competitive nature that shows up on the film. That's weird. It's almost like that's exactly what I just say, is what you see on the film is what you get. But he's saying that what you saw on the film is already what they're seeing on the field. It hasn't taken him long to figure it out. It has not taken Cam Skattebo long to say, yeah, this is who I am. I am that guy. I am him. I am the people's running back. It's not a surprise at all because we know what he is. We know he's a really good football player that, despite any kind of physical athletic limitations, is just better than them. Yeah, he's in the pros now. So some of the stuff he got away with in college isn't going to work as well. I hear you. I totally do. And that is true. How can it not be true? But I also challenge you at the same time to realize that it's not like he was playing low-tier competition. He went from the FCS to the FBS, Division I football, and dominated Pac-12 competition, dominated Big 12 competition, and had one of the greatest performances ever against an SEC opponent. Yeah, he's done it all. But that's enough talking about Cam Skattebo, right? He can be the offense this year. That's the whole point of this segment. He can be the offense this year. First of all, look at the offense for the Giants right now. There is not a lot of continuity. You have Malik Nabors, who is a superstar receiver, and I am banking on him to really break out this year. Like, better than what he was as a rookie. They've got Andrew Thomas, who's one of the best left tackles in football. That's it. That's it. They've got role players throughout the remainder of the offense. I like what's going on in the backfield. There's nothing to do at tight end. And they have no idea what's going on at quarterback. They sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. They trade back into the first round to select Jaxson Dart, who, by the way, chef's kiss. That's my man. I will die on the Jaxson Dart hill. I am one of the members of his fan club, and if there is not a president of that fan club, I would like to apply for it. But we don't know what's going on. We don't know who the week 1 starter is. We don't know who the week 10 starter is, who the week 18 starter is. In fact, I think it would be a little ridiculous to assume that someone is going to start the entire season, start to finish. I think every single one of these three, between Dart, Wilson, Winston, will start a game this year. At least one, and I'd say multiple. I'd say each of them starts, 3 games each. So we'll see. But that's not exactly how you bring continuity to your offense. And a guy like Malik Nabors, he's going to make it work with anyone. And he's really going to make it work with Jameis. Those two are going to be magnificent together. If you're a fantasy football fan, you just go all in on Nabors, man. Don't even think twice about it. Just enjoy the production you're about to get. But it's going to be very different offenses when these 3 quarterbacks are inevitably on the field. the best way to maintain any kind of consistency is to have a good running game. And I like the backfield that the Giants have. Devin Singletary being the leader of the team right now as the veteran, rather, not so much the leader, as the veteran on the team. Not bad. Not bad. And he's good. He's quality. Last year was his worst season, but I also think last year was probably his worst situation that he's been placed into. Tyrone Tracy, who was behind him, he was a rookie last year. He looked very, very good. He looked very, very good. Potentially a lead face of the backfield. So you add Cam Skattebo, and now you have a legitimate backfield, a legitimate, really good rotation of guys. 1, 2, 3 guys. In fact, do you remember Earth, Wind, Fire? The 21st night of September? There was history lesson for Sun Devil fans who don't know, or just new football fans who may not know. Giants fans know exactly where I'm going with this. They had in 2008 the Earth, Wind, Fire running game. They had Derek Ward, Brandon Jacobs, Ahmad Bradshaw. Ward and Jacobs each went over 1,000 yards. Bradshaw had a little over 400 by himself. But they called it the Earth, Wind, Fire backfield because each of them brought something a little different to the table. If I remember correctly, Derek Ward was wind, Brandon Jacobs was earth, and Ahmad Bradshaw was fire. Do you have that here? Just throwing it out there. Maybe you've got your new Earth, Wind, Fire. You've got your earth with Devin Singletary. You've got your wind with Tyrone Tracy, and you got your fire with Cam Skattebo. I don't know. Maybe this is the new iteration of that backfield. But you need consistency somewhere on this offense. It is probably not coming in the passing game. You'll get it from Malik Nabors. That's it. Like, you got role players throughout the rest of the offense. We'll talk about that. But, I mean, there's just not much to bank on right now. If God forbid Malik Nabors gets blanked in a game by going up against some elite secondaries and defenses, then where's the production going to come from? Well, it's going to come from the running backs. And it is going to be a collective effort because I do like Singletary and Tracy quite a bit. But I also know that Cam Skattebo is better than the two of them. And I know that Cam Skattebo is more than likely the future of this backfield. I feel very, very confident that Skattebo can provide the consistency that the Giants need this upcoming season. They are more than likely going to see several starting quarterbacks this year. That's tough for any team. Even with an elite receiver who could be top 5 in the league at his highest potential, maybe better. That's tough. That's tough to ask of anyone. But with a good run game, you can get some stuff done. So yeah, you can center your offense around Cam Skattebo this year. You can also center your team around Cam Skattebo, not just for this year, but years to come. That's coming up next. It's the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And again, thank you all so much for turning into Locked On Sun Devils and making us your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. You can make Cam Skattebo the focal point of your offense this year. You know what else you can do? You can make him the focal point of your team for years to come. I want to go back to where we started this podcast, talking about how Cam Skattebo looks like a New York Giant. That's a big step right there. Giants fans, football fans want someone who just feels like that kind of player that you've grown up watching. How many times do we hear people go like, oh, he's totally a blank player? Look at a really good, strong defensive tackle. Oh, that is totally a Pittsburgh Steeler. Look at a big, bruising running back. Oh, that is a total Baltimore Raven. Look at a gunslinger quarterback who's not afraid to make the throws. Oh, that is a total Green Bay Packer. Look at a big, long receiver who can be a technician as a route runner. That is a total Arizona Cardinal receiver. There's stuff like that. And when you look at a guy like Cam Skattebo and you see his scrappy, hard-nosed running, super talented running back, right? That's kind of a New York Giant, at least to me. Now, don't get me wrong. There's been all sorts of faces. Brandon Jacobs does not look like Cam Skattebo. I'm not going to pretend like they do, but they play similar in the way that they're just going to play some bully ball, and good luck trying to stop them. Jacobs had a much more physical gift to be able to punish guys like that. So seeing Cam Skattebo punish guys the way that he does is pretty impressive. But that's just kind of the way that New York Giants players play. Yeah, they've had some insanely talented players. You had Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham in their primes at some point in time, and those were some of the most pristine athletes that the league has seen since the turn of the century. But you've also had some guys that aren't necessarily the greatest athletes in the world or the greatest players in the world. I mean, Daniel Bellinger, one of the tight ends, wasn't the greatest guy in the world. He carved out a couple of solid seasons. I mean, enough so to I say that name and Giants fans go, wow, Daniel Bellinger, that's a name. How about Rashad Jennings? Probably a name that more Giants fans know. Funny enough, a running back. He was rock solid. And he did it without being some elite player across the board in any one specific point. The Giants have gotten good production, good play out of guys like that. A much higher comparison here. But, and granted, we did find out the hard way he was much better. But no one knew who Victor Cruz was. In fact, I remember when Victor Cruz really started catching flame, that there was like this stipulation of like, what does he do great? Like, what does Victor Cruz do that is better than everyone else? Why does it matter when he's simply better than everyone else? Victor Cruz wasn't the biggest guy on the field. He wasn't the fastest guy on the field. He didn't have the best hands of everyone in the league. But you know what? He was a really good football player. And he carved out a heck of a career with the New York Giants, several 1,000-yard seasons. He had one of the best single seasons a receiver has ever had for a New York Giant. 1,500 yards, double-digit touchdowns in consecutive seasons. Like, he was a beast. If not for injuries, we'd be talking about him as an all-time Giant, and he might still be an all-time Giant. Sometimes it's not just about being the most dominant player on the field. Sometimes it's just about being good at football. And we've seen a lot of New York Giants players that are like that. We've seen a lot of guys that are just good at what they do. They don't need to be the greatest guys on the field. Yeah, Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham, Jason Pierre-Paul, like those are freak athletes. It's not an accident that they are as good as they are. But what about some of the other guys that are just getting their job done, right? That's not the worst thing in the world. Just because Cam Skattebo doesn't look like LaShawn McCoy doesn't mean he can't play at a LaShawn McCoy level. I said it, man. I said it. So it's what a lot of fans can get behind. A lot of fans will look at Cam Skattebo and be like, that is a classic New York Giant. Look at him. That is a total New York Giant. And then down the road, you'll have other fans that are like, yeah, he just looks like a New York Giant. He just looks like a New York Giant. He plays like a New York Giant. He has the attitude of a New York Giant. That stuff just all starts to come into play. So that in itself is something that this franchise can build around. But now let's look at what he does on the field. We're going to go with the same three things I've been saying the entire show. He has a nose for the end zone. He is a power runner. And he is a great pass catcher. This Giants offense, which does not have any consistency at the moment. You got Malik Nabors and a whole lot of nothing. You are betting on the future of Jaxson Dart to be that guy. And good news, he is that guy. But outside of that, there's just not a lot going on. It's a very solid backfield that Skattebo should be able to lead. So I look at that, and I don't see why you can't build your franchise around Skattebo. The running back position has had a bit of a renaissance in recent years in the NFL. And it's important, once again, not just like it used to be, to have good running games. It's not an accident that the Packers, the Eagles, and the Ravens end up having some of the best football teams in the NFL last year when they add elite runners. All of them ran for over 1,400 yards last year. Like that stuff matters. Having someone like Cam Skattebo who could do that for you is going to turn the fortunes of this offense around. So you give me Cam Skattebo, the people's running back who does it all. You give me Malik Nabors, who has the potential to be one of the, if not the best receivers in the NFL. And you give me a guy in Jaxson Dart, who's similar to Cam Skattebo. What does he do? What does he do great? He does a lot of stuff really, really, really well. And if you give him enough weapons, it's going to be hard for him to screw it up. And he's got some good weapons right now. So first of all, there's your triplets. Everyone needs triplets when they want to contend. It goes back to the Cowboys in the 90s. You had Troy Aikman, you had Michael Irvin, you had Emmett Smith. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that. Emmett Smith. Yeah, I'm not crazy. And they won championships. It's so important to have those triplets. Here's your triplets. You can build an identity here. You can build an offensive identity with Cam Skattebo. Because he runs the football hard, man, and he catches the football well, and he scores touchdowns. He is Mr. Do-It-All. And it's not a jack of all trades and a master of none. That's not the case here. He does a lot of things really, really well. And there are some things that he is great at, including catching the football. That might be his best asset as a football player. There's just a lot of stuff that he does well. And for what it's worth, some of the better Giants football teams that we have seen have come around with great run games. So if this works out, then yeah, build your identity through Cam Skattebo, who can power your run game. Build your offense through Cam Skattebo, who can catch the football and be a dual threat player for you. Build your offense, build your team around Cam Skattebo, who's just going to be the fan favorite. He's going to be the people's running back. There's going to be a lot of number 44 jerseys in the stands that's got Skattebo on it. Hopefully some of you guys will get a people's running back jersey. I think I got to get myself a people's running back jersey. But if everything clicks, you've got your franchise quarterback, you've got your elite wide receiver, you've got the leader of your backfield, you've got your triplets of the future. You can finally get back to relevance because the Giants have been struggling in mediocrity for a long time now. And Skattebo and the rest of what's going on here with Malik Nabors and Jaxson Dart might be able to start turning the fortunes of this team around. But Cam Skattebo, he might be the key here. It all starts with Skattebo commanding the run game, and he can do it. It looks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, and it swims like a duck, and it walks like a duck. It's a duck. Cam Skattebo is a giant. Aesthetically, he's a giant. His play style is a giant. You can build the offense around him this year, and he can be the key to the future for the Giants. What do you guys think, though? Are you a big fan of Cam Skattebo with the New York Giants? Am I absolutely insane for thinking this? Or did I really get you to think, yeah, Cam Skattebo might be the perfect New York Giant? Let me know in the comments. You can hit me up on Twitter at Richie Bradshaw36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. You'll get an update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning into Locked On Sun Devils to make us your first listen of the day. And shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Thanks as always for tuning in, guys. We will have more updates on everything Sun Devils related for you as we start entering the dog days of summer. I'll catch you next time. And until then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.